You guys every week do the same thing.
What?
We're on, we're not on. We're not on.
I got the air conditioner on for you. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Just Enough Heshy Show.
On.
Yes, we are. I want you all to know that Esti's still on vacation, so we have the.
I hope she's having a good time.
I hope she's having a great time tonight.
How long is she out for?
I think she said 10 days, 12 days, but you never know.
You never know.
Can we extend her ticket? I mean,
her ticket. She's not coming back.
We'll see you in 2018. You know?
You never know with us. Me and Neil have a bet. I lost
children.
one bet to you. Neil is betting.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my money for that bet. Interesting.
Broke. I have the credit card. I broke. I had to buy the sodas today.
I'll tell you where you can swipe that credit card.
You got it, baby. By the way, I saw a picture with you on the internet. I'm going to tell you about Mark Appel's uncle or father or somebody died, and you were at the wedding or something, some Mushal wedding.
I was at the wedding and somebody died.
They showed a picture of that. Who cares? Anyways, welcome everybody.
No, I got to hear this.
We're going to hear it in a minute. Everybody, welcome to the show.
Weddings now when people die.
I've seen that. We have no guest tonight. Tonight, you guys are going to listen just to me and my voice of reason, Neil. How are you, Neil?
I'm doing
Today
good.
we're going to discuss all this religious I want to talk to people. Okay, we're not going to tell you what we're doing. You're listening in, and of course we have Z, who's here tonight. And
what's up, everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back.
And then, of course, you have me, your Uncle Heshy. Please call into the show tonight, 718-303-9090. We're willing to talk about anything. We're willing to talk about the previous three.
We don't just talk.
No.
We don't just talk.
But we had.
You're getting quality sounds.
I was told yesterday.
We tell it like it is over here.
No, but Z, yesterday I was under control. I was calm. They said I did flip out a little bit in midstream.
And I missed it.
A couple minutes. I don't know when. Somebody
we had a guest.
Yeah, we had a guest. I was
Who was
calm.
the guest?
But, we had a Rabbi Jill Houston. Wonderful, intelligent lady.
I missed that.
Really
She's
smart.
very, very smart.
Rabbi Jill.
Right.
Rabbi Jill, and she was with me. You missed also Rabbi Toby Rubenstein Schreier.
Did all their congregants call in like the last time?
Who else did we miss?
The cantor? He was here for the cantor.
Spiritual leader.
He was here for the cantor.
Yeah, I was here for the
cantor.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of her constituents.
These are respected people.
Yeah.
And so we had four serious issues on religious and God, and we'd like to have our opinions on it. But first, we're going to start with a very interesting quote that I've
made up,
worked out.
Before you who's paying?
First I do the quote. Oh wow, Neil, I love
You're doing
you.
the show for 6 months.
Neil.
You still don't know.
I love that.
It's 8 months.
I want to talk about happiness because I want you all to be happy, okay?
Yeah.
And here we go. Happiness. Never continue in a path of life you don't enjoy. If you're happy in what you're doing and the way you are proceeding and like yourself, you have inner peace. And if you have that, along with physical health, you will have more success than you can possibly have imagined. Now, I'm not talking about being rich and wealthy and whatever it is. I'm talking happiness of inner peace. No, you don't have to be happy in your job or happiness. You have to be happy with your life. Happy that today I woke up. Happiness that, yes, I have a job. Some people don't have a job. Some people don't have money, food stamps. They can't get onto certain programs. Happiness means is you know that you're proceeding. You have a path to go, and you need inner peace.
It's a certain feeling of being content. In other words, like everything is just where it's supposed to be. You know, not saying, "Oh, I don't have a car," but saying, "Hey, the bus works great."
Oh, I'm working on a car. I'm working on the idea. Now,
you know how many million people travel the subway?
Wow.
Oh, all of them are on the same train as me when I'm on it.
Right.
It's like
apparently
3 million or something.
Could be. I have no idea. And yet they're always bankrupt somehow. I don't know.
They're bankrupt.
I can't figure it out.
They're always running.
But I want to talk one more thing. Yeah. I have a problem, of course. Neil, ready? I'm happy you didn't make fun of my quote.
I think you have more than one problem.
I love that quote.
Okay, good. So I have a problem.
No, because I have a problem of people living their lives, and you meet them when they're elderly, and you see they were never happy. They can't find 10 years that they were really just right.
And you know what makes me fun?
You know, so what is it all
so
about?
My mother's 91 years old. She can see.
God bless her.
God bless her. She's very smart. She still remembers where everything is and all the bank account numbers. That's for sure. I even was in my car with Penny, and my mother was screaming at me. She says, "Wow, you tell me that she's not normal, and she really has her brains on you." I said, "When she screams at me, she's good." Mm-hmm. So today I'm driving in the car, and I said, "Ma, I have a problem. She wants to go upstate to visit my sister in camp. I said, Ma, it's too hard for me to drive. 3 hours there, 3 hours back. I'm going to need a helper driver. No, you and me. I said, but I can't do it myself. She says, don't worry about it. I'll drive. I said, Ma, you can't see. No, with glasses I can see a little. I said, Ma, you don't have a driver's license. Yeah, your brother stole it, but nobody will know. I said, Ma.
After which accident will they catch you?
I said, I'm willing to bet you $1,000 you don't make it one block.
But you don't pay your bet, so what's the difference? I could bet $5,000
No,
if
his
I'm
mother never knew how to drive
Never.
a car. It's not
60 years.
How many accidents?
No, but she said not one of them was her fault.
Thank God she knows the line by now.
So I want to tell you one thing. Why am I not happy? Because everybody's talking to me
Well,
about
who asked you whether you're happy or not?
I want to be happy, Neil. So I figured out how to be happy. I was reading this wonderful book, and I finally figured it out. And here's a quote by Mary, Queen of Scots. I don't know if you know who that is. She says, "No more tears now. I will think upon revenge. When I do that, I feel better. I want revenge of those people that hurt me and my fellow friends and other people out there."
What do we say? What do we say revenge is? What's the best revenge?
What is the best revenge?
Your success.
But that's not an answer. I know success.
In other words, hurting them doesn't rise you really.
It does.
No,
it does.
A little part of
No,
you.
no.
There's one part of you that's a little cracked, and you have to see someone having pain and being punished for it.
Right.
And then there's the rest of you. In other words, that's just listen. Well, you know that you have the same anger from the kid in 4th grade who stole your bubble gum today as you did then, and you want to still hurt him. So
no, but I do have an anger.
But if somebody hurt you today, you have a fight, a business, that.
There was a guy. There
was a few weeks ago.
There was a guy, Motke Friedman, in my 3rd grade class, and he was like the leader of the class. And I had a bunch of candies, and he wouldn't let me play with him. And I gave him one of my candies, and he let me sit in the circle. He sucked it, and then he threw it away in front of me. I still am pissed at that bully did that. After that, I decided to fight the bullies.
Well,
after
we talked about it after that church shooting a couple weeks ago, when all the congregants from the church, within like a few hours even, they were already saying how they forgive the guy.
Well, that's what they have to do. That's what church and synagogues do.
We said it's a lot of
it's not
lip
true.
service,
it's
but
not
deep
true.
down, everyone wants a little bit of revenge. Come on.
So today's show, I want to discuss.
No, some people want a lot of revenge.
A lot of revenge.
I do. Look at his eyes.
He's
like a tiger that didn't eat for 4 days.
Right. I need to not win. You see, you guys think I need to win.
No, you just need the other guy to hurt.
I need the other guy to hurt.
Right.
Right. The pain that you put me and the other people through.
You're needed in certain places.
Right.
Because other people think like me. You know, hey, just keep going, be successful yourself, and let them eat their hearts out.
But I think that's my happiness, is that I am going to be successful. I am going to go on. But the bottom line is, by my success, what does that do? That
so
guy
God can't punish, but you can.
So let's go. Hold on. I'm not saying God can't punish, and I'm not saying God. Here we go. So we had 4 very interesting rabbis over the last 4 shows, and each one had their own opinions on God.
Their own
perspectives. Yeah. Not one of them answered to me the most important question: who God is, why God has a right to punish us. And I'm having a problem with it. First of all, of course, the Holocaust, nobody gave me an answer. God did this, God did that. God punished us because we were bad, we were good. And then yesterday...
But that's not the only war. I don't know why you have to go
so my point is...
It's since the temple.
But that's my
Greeks,
point.
The Romans,
the World War II, the Holocaust that killed all the Jews, is everybody's trying
Didn't
to...
Abraham also fight with the other countries?
But my point is, why is everybody picking that the Holocaust was the final punishment of God when it was the Babylonian and it was the pogroms? That's what it is. It's the final.
No, it's called the final solution, right?
Right. Yeah.
But it's not.
I don't think there's going to be any more wars like that.
Well, there's not going to be any more world wars. No, it's very simple. Ever since nuclear weapons were invented, there's no such thing as a world war because it's just over. Whoever starts the next world war is just ending the world.
Not true. I was looking at a documentary on Kennedy with Cuba, that really the Cubans, if Kennedy would have attacked The Russians had like 100-something kind of bombs, and America had hydrogen bombs.
That's what I'm saying. We see the end of the world, basically. We just nuke it all. That's the whole point.
We're not stupid people. Nobody wants to. No leader wants to.
That's why it's important.
Like you have to beat the hell out of someone that hurt you. You got that illness.
But I won't do it.
There's somebody out there. That's you. We're not talking about you now. We're talking about Putin. We're talking about people of his grade that are willing to push the button.
But forget about that. How about we're making a nuclear deal with Iran in a couple of days? Who knows what will happen with them if they get a nuke? Who knows what's going to happen? It's ridiculous.
But you know, Israel's not going to allow it.
Well, I don't know what's going to be. I don't know. Netanyahu.
Anyways, you know what?
Right
I think if they get the nuke, they're going to blow themselves up anyways.
I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. That's for sure.
So, guys, here's an interesting story for you. Are you ready?
He doesn't listen to that.
I do listen. What do you want from me?
What's your interesting story?
First of all, Neil, I do want to ask Z who's paying for the show. First of all, you're all listening to the Just Enough Heshy show.
Hey, Uncle Heshy. What's doing?
And 718-303-9090. Call into the show tonight. I will listen to you. I will listen to.
You let them talk?
I will let them talk.
Okay.
For like a minute, and then I'll cut them off.
No, not all the time.
Okay, so we got what? The Mikey cigarettes?
Well, let Z tell us. First of all, Z, how can you reach the show?
I trained really hard to be able to read these ads as well as SD can.
Find us?
I don't know. I don't know if SD
Facebook.
She wasn't able to teach me.
Now, if you want to advertise with us, you can go with justenoughheshy@gmail.com. Heshy. That's how I spell it.
Okay.
And anyways, who's paying for the show?
So basically, we have good old Black Label e-cigs. You can look them up online at blpremiumesig.com, or you can call Mikey 561-239-5941.
He says you say the number too fast. You have to say the number a second time.
See, I told you I'm not ready for this yet. It's just too complicated. 561-239-5941.
Have you ever smoked?
No.
Never?
Never.
Good for you.
Never. I don't know if you want to say lucky or unlucky, but when I was a very young kid, one of my father's best friends passed away from lung cancer, and it put the fear of God into me, and I never touched a cigarette.
Good. My boys don't smoke either.
I made it this far. I think I could survive the rest of my life, honestly. I made it past all the, the peer pressure years. I never really saw the
they say if you don't start smoking by like 18 or something.
And it's so sad. I know people.
That's when I started to smoke, was 18 and 20.
You're different than everybody.
Am I not?
Everything.
I know people who are flat broke and they spend their last few dollars on these $12 pack cigarettes, and I feel so sad for them. Like it's just ridiculous.
We're taxing the poor.
It's an addiction. Whatever.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Heshy.
We got Sarah Shapiro Halberstam. She's a psychotherapist in couples counseling. You can reach her at sarah@mytherapist.info, or you can call her at 800-873-0323, extension 709. Again, that's 800-873-0323, extension 709. We've also got Mr. Clean Dry Cleaning, free pickup and drop-off, and 25% off if you mention the show. That's a lot of money. 25% off.
And he also told me now 15% discount afterwards.
What does that mean?
In other words, you don't lose discount.
You don't lose the discount.
Wow,
15% afterwards if you come through the show. Go ahead.
He'll pick up and deliver for free. It's MrCleanDelivers@gmail.com. Again, MrCleanDelivers@gmail.com. 347-369-3051. That's 347-369-3051. And of course, our favorite Green Line Building Solutions: asbestos and lead inspection, DOB HPD code compliance, violations permits, preventive maintenance, lift stop work orders, and free consultation. You can call 718-871-0382. And, of course, we're on every single week, Monday and Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. and 6:20 a.m. You can reach us on Facebook or Twitter at Just Enough Heshy. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Or if you want to advertise, you can send us an email to justenoughheshy@gmail.com.
Or find any of our advertisers, and we'll send you their information.
We'll send you directly. And, of course, you could always call into the show anytime with any questions or comments, 718-303-9090.
9090. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Finally, somebody.
303.
9090.
You don't like that. We don't give out the area code always.
Right,
Okay?
I like
Because
the
you think people don't know.
Okay, let's go to the next thing. So, guys,
this man's moving.
I'm not moving. There's a lot.
He doesn't want to start.
We haven't talked about. We haven't.
Wow. What the heck is going on?
We haven't talked about the issues.
You have like the goodness gene in you
No.
today.
I do. I want to be kind. I want to be kind. Good. It makes me feel good.
It's good to see you like that.
Okay.
Well,
there was attacking people. Like.
By the way, anybody, if you want me to come to any of your speaking engagements or be the MC, call me.
How much does he charge?
No, I'm right now very cheap.
No, you're not very cheap.
I'm going to be. I'm cheap. I'm very cheap.
But not very.
Very cheap.
Take the very.
I'm very. Right now, you can get me at a bargain, but someday you won't. So call me down.
Get him now while he's still not.
By the way, guys, I want to talk about this. There's a lawsuit going on. Some guy, you're gonna love this. Some bunch of a group of residents in Brooklyn is suing 4 rabbis, several Hasidic congregants, and the city to stop an annual religious ritual involving killing or flinging chickens around by their heads and slicing their necks off.
They go through this every year before Yom Kippur. What is this now?
Papers filed in Manhattan Supreme Court says the barbaric tradition called Kappuris unnecessarily terrifies the birds. Oh my God.
Okay, they go through this every year. There's a
public
protest.
Streets and a slaughterhouse 10 days for 10 days. Dead chickens, half dead chickens, blood. It's like the blood is flowing on the street. What's the point of this whole story that I want to get to?
Yeah.
That these idiots, the name, they're lawyers for the group Jessica Astroff, idiot, Nora Constance, another Corver, Nora Constance Mariano, and
this is, of course, all your opinion.
Right. They have 1 minute. They're suing congregations in Crown Heights and Borough Park. Now, this ritual is to transfer the sins, whatever the ritual is, and it's a legally allowed ritual. These people are upset when they walk from their house to the train or to work. Yeah. They see this barbaric ritual, first of all.
And they hear I don't know if you've ever been down there in Borough Park when they do it. There's like a million chickens. They're squawking. There's feathers flying. It smells. It's terrible.
But the chickens are killed in the back in a private place. It's not done on the street, so they're lying. Number one, and you don't see chickens bouncing for a couple of days. But you didn't get to. Okay, but you're not getting to my point here. You want to hear the whole point over here?
Because they have a problem with Israel.
But you're not getting to my point.
I'll let you.
The final part to this is Brooklyn Assemblyman Dov Hiken, who represents Borough Park. I wish I could run against him. Disputed the alliance's description of what happens. I don't know what in God's name they're talking about. They make it sound like the blood is running in the streets. It's just not true.
Yeah, it's true. They do over-exaggerate.
So, Mr. Hiken, I got you. We got your quote for the day. You got in front of the newspapers. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to put up a lawyer to defend them? Are you going to go to court and argue against these cases? Are you going to make the Supreme Court judge throw it out? Are you going to go before the Assembly and State Court and make sure that no law goes against the process?
How come I never hear anything about, hey, why do you want Dove to go over there? Why shouldn't he go to the places that are doing the slaughtering and get them to clean up their act a little?
I don't see them. I was a lot of places that they do the slaughtering. They do it in private locations, in private property. It's not done on the street. You're right. The chickens are stored on the street when it comes off the truck.
They got a video now on from maybe Failed Messiah.
Anything they could do to bring dirt on the religious community, they'll find it.
Fine. But a video is a video of a chicken slaughterhouse that the Israeli government closed down. A famous company.
Why?
And they showed a video. The workers screwing around with the chicken.
That's such a non-kosher religious problem. And there are so many videos on YouTube you could find from PETA about all these slaughterhouses for the non-kosher animals.
Right.
If you actually saw what goes on in half these places,
goes on.
It's crazy. They take the little baby chickens, the ones that are useless to them, and they literally just like throw them in the trash and just like suffocate them to death. And there are people there that abuse animals. They kick them and they shock them. And there are sick people everywhere. It's not a religious or a non-religious incident.
And they're also saying that the chickens suffer.
That's what you're saying.
It's
an industry.
It's an industry, exactly.
They say that the chickens suffer. I don't believe the chickens suffer.
Why?
Because you cut their throat. It takes a second and they
die. And it's very true because it's been proven time and time again that the religious methods of killing the animals is way more humane than what they do in any commercial slaughterhouse. So for anyone that has a problem with the way that we do it, it's way better.
Our assistant producer is missing calls left and right. Another one you missed, but that's okay. Gotta pay attention. Anyways, so first of all,
where's that at 303
9097 we have a caller. Norman wants to get on the show early tonight because he has things to do early. So let's push the button and
push it and let him talk.
You're good at pushing the button. Let him talk. He's good at pushing people.
Go ahead, Norman. How are you this evening, baby?
I'm fine. I'm always good. As long as I'm breathing, I'm good.
Wow.
Anyway, because I do enjoy my life thoroughly, and I find it to have a joyous life. Anyway, what I wanted to say was last night there was a caller who said that I didn't know what I was talking about Vietnam.
Right.
And you said after he was finished, see, Norman was wrong. Now this is what bothers me. How do you know he was right?
Who said that?
Who said that?
I can't. I wasn't here. So
Norman, who said it?
I don't think it was. How do you always accuse me, Norman? You got to stop that.
Well, I'm just. Hey, listen. I heard what you said.
Okay, no problem. So I apologize, Norman.
So listen. So Heshy, how do you know he's right? And you know what bothers me most of all?
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
I did hear something. What he said about the what was that road called again? I did remember reading something.
The Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Ho Chi Minh Trail. I did remember reading about
Heshy, that. I gave you a movie called The Fog of War, and I gave it to you because it's a documentary that won the Academy Award, and it's an interview with our Secretary of State, Robert McNamara, who ran the Vietnam War for us. And he said it was a terrible mistake. It was a tragedy. So watch it. I give you these things, but you're lazy. You don't even want to watch it because Norman gave it to you. If Mendel gave it to you, you would watch it.
I don't know, Norman. I have a few movies from you, and I think it was Sunday. I picked up the bag. I looked at it. I said, I'm not going to sit for an hour and a half now and watch a movie. And I went,
well,
you know, it's like when I don't even know when to watch it. I feel like I'm so busy.
That's okay.
But when I get time, I will get to watch them and enjoy them.
All I can say is I gave
a lot of Woody Allen.
I gave you excellent movies.
Yeah.
So again, Heshy, what bothers me is that, and first of all, I want to tell you, know who was one of Ho Chi Minh's best friends and offered him shelter when his life was threatened, and whom he went to college with? It was David Ben-Gurion.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Well, you see, when I told you about Czechoslovakia in the past...
I checked it out, and I said you were right. I told you I didn't know about Czechoslovakia.
Listen, Heshy, that's why when you have a caller that says, oh, Norman recommended the news station Democracy Now!, it's a left-wing station. I didn't say that she's nuts or anything like that. All I do is tell you, put the station on and listen to what the station's about.
You are right, Norman. Norman, I apologize. Norman, on the air in front of the millions of listeners that we have. I apologize to you, Norman.
Okay, well,
Z, do you accept my apology?
On behalf of everybody.
Hey, listen, I've tried to help you, Heshy. I told you I could help both you and Neil to stop smoking. I feel
I don't smoke. I smoke the electric cigarette.
Yeah, well, that's not good either.
No.
But anyway, I could help you with losing weight.
Oh, that sounds good. I just bought a bike, and I'm going to start biking right now.
Oh no! What did you spend?
My partner's a sicko. He has a $2,000 bike, wacko. And he likes to carry it, and he wears the new biking suit because he lost a lot of weight.
No,
and me, I'm going to be biking in my shorts or black pants. Don't worry about it.
It's good to do.
I spent $400. Anyways, Norman.
Let him finish up. Go ahead.
Beside the Jews being abused by the Nazis, the Armenian people were slaughtered in the early 1900s by the Turkish government. There were people in Thailand, over 1 million people slaughtered by the Khmer Rouge. I believe that was their name. And both of those countries have their own religious beliefs, and God did not come to their aid. So, you could believe, I don't like this religious stuff that's going on your show because let's take in the Jewish thing that you're doing. A doesn't like B. B doesn't like C. C doesn't like D. One believes in hell. One doesn't believe in hell.
Norman,
it's
stop.
so ridiculous.
Norman, you picked Jew. Let me tell you something. My point.
The last couple.
See, you did not. Norman, you did not understand the last 4 shows. My shows were not based on religion. My shows were that I took advisors from every different of the Jewish sect because that's what I understand. I don't understand the Christian Bible well. I've looked into it, and I'm telling you right now, what I did was I tried to do a comparison to all the religions, and I wanted to ask one question to all the religions, and it's for Christianity as well. Why does God do evil things? And my answer that I've got, 1 minute, Norman, you're not letting me finish. My answer from everybody, and including a pastor that I spoke to today, I spoke to an imam recently about a couple of weeks ago, and the simple answer is God does not do. What? He says that God does not do anything evil. It's the people that do the evil things, and God will punish them later, and there's a reason for this. And I don't know the reason. The fact is, I have to, and I misspoke, and I am told that I, Heshy, have no right to question, and I should sit
Heshy,
back.
You know what, Heshy? Why don't you know what you'd have a lot of fun with? Why don't you learn how to play a musical instrument? It sure beats this nonsense.
I do. By the way, I play the piano. I know how to play Oh, when the Saints Go Marching In. I played so well. I used to teach my kids that, but that's as much as I go.
So you can hire him for speaking and for entertainment.
Yeah. Norman, you are wonderful, Norman. Thank you so much for your call again.
I have one other thing to say to Z.
Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't even say anything yet today.
Listen, first of all, you did a very good job on reading the commercial.
Oh, thank you. And now comes the other part.
Now to part B. When Rabbi Ralph did the show that night, when Heshy and Neil went to the wedding, you were talking about what happened to the people in the church in South Carolina.
Right.
Which is insane. And Rabbi Ralph said, do you have a film for us? And I mentioned a film called Murder on a Sunday Morning.
Yes, I remember that.
And the reason I mentioned that film is because I know you're from Florida. That's where this documentary took place, and I wanted you to see it because it's very interesting. So I know you didn't see it, but
not
you should
yet, no.
see it.
Anyways,
Okay.
Norman, thank you. We got calls to go.
And the other last thing that I have with Z is you have this FNY, which is very childish. You're very lucky that.
What's FNY?
How did you find that?
What's FNY?
It's you know what? You're very lucky that you're in the most magical place.
Oh my God!
In the whole world.
Norman,
we can debate that another time.
I talk to you later, Norman. You're a good man. We'll talk to you later. Thank you, Norman. We'll speak to you next week. We got another call and somebody that's going to talk about Norman. Larry's on the hold. I'm sure he's going to think. But let's take another caller, line 3. Hello, you're on the air with Uncle Heshy tonight. How are you?
I am doing great, and for a change, I can't say your show reminds me of junior high school today. It sounds mature, and
we moved up to regular high school.
Well, you're only 30 minutes in. You just wait till I take my medication. I do have a very funny story, which I'm going to bring up soon. But go ahead. How are you?
I am doing great. I wanted to talk about this Kaparis thing. First of all, these people really don't care about what's going on. They're out there. It's an agenda. It's the radical animal rights people.
I disagree with you. I disagree. These are anti-Semites that just they wanna hurt somebody, and what they're doing they are
exactly. It's anti-Semitism masquerading as animal rights.
They're not even what are their names? I just want to repeat their names again. I mean, I want to make sure that everybody, because I'm repeating the names.
I'm just trying to figure out why this is happening in the middle of July. This happens every year.
The lawyers for the group of Jessica Jessica Astroff, and Nora Constance Marino. And of course there would be women, because women are not too bright in general coming up with lawsuits. I mean, they have no knowledge of what. I'm not gonna knock all women just because somebody was making fun of my club Corva the other day. Oh, women are never gonna say they're Corvas, but Corva is a good thing. I'm trying to explain to you that all women are a Corva is a class.
The calls after this are gonna be amazing.
No, because you just watch my club. It's gonna be very cool. I was talking about it in synagogue.
How does that term work with the quote of happiness?
That's what makes me happy, by calling women Corvas. Are you happy? Are you problem with that? But my point is, caller, that the people who are doing this lawsuit, which I hope Dov Hiken helps us, which I'd make you a $100 bet he's not going to get involved once it gets serious or costs him any money out of his pocket. These people are hateful Nazis. They are not. They're just hateful Jew haters, and it's not only this. They could go after the Christian church with the wafers that could choke you. I'm sure that there's always somebody going after somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're not a huge fan of Dov Hiken, and to tell you the truth, neither am I. But I got to tell you this much: I got to give credit where credit due. I have a summer house in Muncie, and Dov Hiken and Bill Goldfeder were at the forefront of blocking the anti-Semites and putting in a monitoring East It's not even his district, and he went to bat because he was out there to help the public too. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I got to give credit where credit's due.
A clock is right twice a day.
What did he do?
He helped with
the one that forced the sample monitor.
Or something.
The what?
They wanted to put in, when Muncie is called East Ramapo, the public school. We have a majority from board. And the people around and around didn't like that most of their school board members were not public teachers, were not public school parents. So they try to force an outside monitor appointed by Department of Education to comment and override anything that the from people do. It was basically a very...
I got that. Listen to me.
Wasn't that all about money?
Right, it was all about money, and I'm sure that Hiken. Thank you, caller. I want you to know. Let me put it to you this way. Hiken is so busy with Ramaco and other stuff, but when I get a speeding ticket for going 32 miles an hour by a camera that is adjusted wrongly, or my water meter that was installed by druggies, plumbers, that now the city is giving you new free changed water meters because they saw how they ripped us off.
Both of these. Actually, both are also city issues, not state issues.
You know,
that's your friend Greenfield.
But that's good. But that's not the point. First of all, you're wrong. Water is a state issue. It's not only a city; it's the state.
No, the water meter is installed by the city, not by the state.
It's installed, but the DEP is a state.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Department of Environmental Protection is a city thing.
Nope. It's a city thing. It's DEC, which is state. There's DEP and there's DEC.
Okay, you're right, but you know what? Hiken still has to care about the people in his local communities that are being.
No.
What would you like him to be doing?
I'll tell you what. I have no problem that he puts cameras all over the place to watch crime, but I have a problem that he has cameras watching my speed on Ocean Avenue going 31 miles an hour. That I got my
Ocean Avenue.
Yeah, Ocean Avenue, and there's a
25 now.
25 now, and I got another ticket on Coney Island Ocean Avenue and Avenue O, and then I got another one on Coney Island Avenue and Avenue L. There's a hidden car.
That was a big thing, by the way. They were supposed to lower the speed limit.
Producer.
Your great mayor.
Could you find that?
Yeah, but the mayor. Hold on. The mayor makes the laws. The senators and the state assembly, like Felder, Hiken, and Greenfield, they're supposed to fight to say, "Hey, mayor, you're wrong. We need more cops. We don't need more cops."
The mayor and the governor are on the outs.
Yeah, but you
don't even.
I don't think so. This mayor thinks he's in love. But anyways, caller, thank you for your call.
For the record, the speed limit being lowered to 25, they were supposed to, and they actually promised the Hiken and the other people from here that Ocean Parkway, the speed limit was not going to be dropped because it's ridiculous.
But again,
Ocean Parkway is basically a highway.
Right.
There's a median. There's enough room there's enough room for people to be safe.
Don't you understand? Our assemblymen and senators and councilmen.
The DOT basically gave them the middle finger and said, "Sorry, we're making it 25."
You know what Greenfield?
Traffic crawls down
you know
Ocean
what
Parkway
Greenfield's
now.
big speeches?
No.
The muni things that run out of paper shouldn't be taken. I mean, come on, man. That's your whole story. If the thing runs out of paper, then figure out a way that the whole block doesn't have to pay. Let the muni meter blink. That the ticket agent has to go check the muni meter. If it's blinking, nobody on that block gets a ticket that day. But of course, Greenfield has an answer. Oh, we'll make sure it gets refilled faster. This is the way our Greenfield out. And you know what pisses me off the most? There's a park in Borough Park. I think I mentioned this to you.
You have a park in Borough Park?
There's a Borough Park in Borough Park where I play baseball with the boys. It's now starting construction. It didn't start in the winter. It started now about a month or two ago. They shut down the baseball fields.
Right in the middle of the prime season.
Right in the middle of the prime season.
And Greenfield. Isn't that a new park?
It's not a new park. 18th Avenue, 56th Street.
It?
They renovated a couple years ago. Now they're renovating it again. I guess somebody needs the money. And Greenfield stands there and takes credit for it. It wasn't Greenfield who gets any credit whatsoever. But he stands there and gets credit and has no mercy that the kids in the summer have nowhere to go and play ball. No idea of where maybe you could shuttle us or maybe do half the park. And doing it in the summer, if you would have started in the fall, like September, I understand, work right through the winter. Oh, the snow, come on, you can work September, October, November, December. January, February, snow months, you take a break, and I'm sure you can do the other stuff. And when it comes back, April, and finish it for the summer. But no, that's the way our city works. I have no idea what that means, but it's okay. Anyways, guys, we have to get to another subject. Hello?
You found?
Oh, you found? Hello.
I want to know, the producer, I want to know if there's a list online.
Yeah.
Is there any website that has a list of all the speed cameras in Brooklyn?
But it doesn't make
there
a
probably
difference.
Is.
Oh, he says, yeah.
Oh, there is something?
Oh, and they tell you where it is?
It's not a secret. It's not a secret. First of all, you could see them.
But you're going to get caught in it. Neil,
how many of them are in Brooklyn?
Neil, by the way,
do you know there's actually I'm a big car enthusiast, and I read all the magazines, and I could tell you that there's literally statistical evidence that proves, I don't know about speed cameras, is another story, but red light cameras actually increase traffic accidents and traffic fatalities.
Right.
Because people are so paranoid
they make
about getting the thing that instead of just going through the yellow, they slam on the brakes
or they zoom right through and they get. I know these
people. It's proven and time and time again. And the DOT says, "Oh, it's about safety. It's about safety."
The DOT,
all the stats say backwards.
Don't you understand?
And yet they still do it. They want money.
The DOT now wants to all these agencies now have to produce more money than the other one.
No, it's
so
one
the
thing.
DOB, which punishes the city, is now the biggest income-producing company. The DOT wants to outproduce the DOB. The DEP wants to outproduce the other two together.
They want to take your money from all different ways.
And it just doesn't end. And these guys make up rules and regulations, and if you get a violation and you make a mistake and you plead guilty, you don't even know how many other violations you get.
The reason why they usually have a cop writing tickets in general, and the way the world works, is because he could use his judgment and decide whether you did something wrong or right. There was this, there was that, you missed a light by a millisecond, whatever. When you have just a camera which doesn't have a brain, or just snaps the picture away and decides that you're guilty, boom, you have no way to defend yourself. It's absurd.
I got a bus lane ticket.
But we should carry out with a campaign.
We should.
And whoever votes or doesn't change their vote on having cameras, speed cameras,
doesn't matter.
Nobody should vote for that.
Speed cameras.
Nobody should vote for that.
Doesn't matter about voting.
It does matter.
But it does matter.
It does matter. Everybody.
Do you know that, Neil? You know, I got a bus stop ticket. I was making a right turn on East 10th Street in Manhattan, and you have to go into the bus lane to make the right turn. You can't make it from the second lane. And I tried to make the right. It turned red, so I stopped. And my blinker was on, but once I turned into the other lane, the blinker stopped. The bus was behind me, and I did go in front of the bus, which I put my blinker on. He let me go, and they gave me a ticket. Why? Because when I argued that I was making a right turn, they said, well, your blinker wasn't on, and it shows maybe you went straight. I said, what are you talking about? The car was stopped. But this is the way it is. They decided you win.
It's on video.
And it only shows me stopped, but it doesn't have the blinker light on. But it was on, and either way, I made the right turn.
Right.
This is the ridiculousness of it.
And once you get the ticket, you cannot fight it because
and you know the story that I heard how Greenfield got elected? Greenfield had no chance to get elected against Joe Lazar, and what happened was he made a deal with the Satmar community to vote. Him and another guy had a vote, and he voted in something big time in Williamsburg, which the caller said before. Oh, Hyken went out of his district. district. Greenfeld voted for something out of his district, but he voted with the other council members. That's how it works. You have to vote with other members for other districts and so on and so forth. And that's why the Satmar, it wasn't the Syrian community, because the Syrian community really doesn't care. They don't come out. They did come out, but they didn't have that much of a vote. It was the Satmar Hasidic community that came out to vote. And you know what? It was not true. Nobody even backed him. They just went around with these signs. It was a great advertising campaign, the way he tricked it. And you people, you idiots, have voted in Greenfield time and time again. Not that I have a problem. I like David Greenfield. I meet him on the street. He's a nice man. He just doesn't do anything. He hasn't removed the fire hydrants that don't work. He's gotten us more tickets. He lets the people tow our cars. Not only tow our cars, now I apologize, they boot our cars in front of our house. We have $300 in tickets. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyways.
Yeah, I think tickets, the camera speeding
is unacceptable.
That is literally like KGB.
Right.
You know, like what is
Anyways,
that?
you guys are listening to the Just Enough Heshy Show. I want to take another caller before we do the ads.
Let's just announce a number for a lot of people.
718-303-9090. Call in. I want to discuss the previous shows as well with you, Neil, because I do want to talk about, because I was told specifically that I made an error on insulting Rabbi Mizrahi. I apologize to Rabbi Mizrahi for telling him that acting as an ignorant person. That's what I was.
I think Rabbi Mizrahi misunderstood us.
Right.
And therefore it turned into a terrible type of situation. Right. We didn't want to have such a situation.
Right.
We're not interested
everybody
in hurting
said there was
Rabbi
a war.
Mizrahi.
Did you beat him? Did I beat him?
The point was, we wanted to learn something, and we had questions, and he was belittling our questions.
Right.
That, you don't understand because you're not learning enough. That's not a good answer.
When I was younger,
you're supposed to give me learning enough.
When I was younger, I had a lot of our friends got married when we were young, right, Neil? And we got married a little bit later. One of my friends had a problem with his wife. There was some infidelity there. So the husband was freaking out. I got to ask the rabbi a question. So I said, okay, let's call this rabbi. And we called this very famous rabbi in Borough Park, the Debrecen or whatever. And we picked him up, and we called him up, and we asked him the question. He starts screaming at me, you, he calls me names, and he hung up the phone. How could you ask such a bad question? I mean, the girl cheated on her husband. We want to know how he can get back to where he is, but he had his own way. Some people have their way, and they won't bend for nothing. And that's what, a lot of people say to me, your children are more religious, not religious. I brought them up in their own way. They can go any way they want. I don't want them to be brainwashed. But if they are, hey, no big deal. They're big, grown men, adults, and I want to make sure that the younger ones, like a friend of mine was telling me today in the car, you don't care about God. You don't care if your children are religious or not. You want them to play and be cool. I want them to study Torah, but I want them to be cool. I want them to be chilled. I want them to worldly. Let's take another caller.
Yeah.
Hello, caller. How are you?
Heshy and Neil and Zev, hi. Robert McNamara was a professor of accounting at Harvard Business School who organized the movement of war materials. We don't have to ponder why Norman is mad at Robert McNamara.
Yeah.
Now, a rabbi flinging a chicken around doesn't get blood all over the place. That's a lie.
Yeah.
It's public expression. It doesn't get in my way. They're careful about that. The Occupy movement gets in my way in public, and that's the purpose,
exactly.
to get in people's way in public.
That's the irony. And I feel like this whole, anti-Kaparos movement that they're protesting, a lot of it is tinged with anti-Semitism. And the religious aspect makes them care a little bit more than they pretend to care, because it's an opportunity for them to, to cause problems with us. That's what I really think. I don't think they care as much as they pretend that they do.
How about saying what I just said to the judge in Supreme Court Manhattan? That may work.
Yeah. I don't know. These judges today, they simply have one answer. We are paid by the government, and they're government employees. They try to be fair, but you know what they don't understand, these judges? That God gave them the job. And I'm going to talk about God. According to everybody else, God gave you the job to be a judge. And if you rule incorrectly, you will be punished worse than everybody. And most of these judges, and I'm not talking 5%, 10%, 50% of these cases where the judges do kind of decisions, money decisions, settlement agreements, they are wrong, and they will be punished. And if there is a hell, according to Rabbi Mizrahi, they will be cooked not on both sides, but on four sides. Most judges today are bad and evil, and they just don't care only about their paycheck at the end of the day, and they're scared of the prosecutors, because if they don't rule with the prosecutor, what happens is the prosecutor will go investigate them and go after them.
In other words, are you saying the judges are political?
I'm telling you, the judges are 100% political, and half of them, they're not corrupt, but their way of thinking, like
they're not corrupt.
You heard what Governor Christie, you know what he said the other day? If I was president and I would have put these judges in, they would have ruled against gay marriage. What do you mean? You mean you would have put in judges that had a way of thinking prior to them hearing the case? That is wrong. Isn't that wrong, Neil?
No, I think that's how all presidents pick the judges they want.
But that's
by
wrong.
Looking at how they vote and how they did things.
But
in
it's
their
not the way.
life.
Each case has to be individually thought of.
Right, but you can get an idea. Like if I come to you with an idea, I have an idea what you would go for, what you wouldn't go for.
Thanks, Neil.
So
that's my question.
Yeah.
Oh, listen. Unconscious can be intentional. So what you're talking about, Heshy, is unconscious behavior of the judges, but it is intentional but unconscious. Now, you said that the way you raise your kids is a certain way, but it's unconscious, but it's intentional, and your kids get raised the way you want them raised, even though it's unconscious. That's the way it should be.
No. I raised them in a certain way that I thought was the theological Jewish way, and the way that I felt that they should use for the future of their life. I never said they should be religious. I never said they should be not religious. I felt that the teachings that I was taught in a religious manner, of Orthodox manner of Judaism, would be a good tool for them to use when they're 18. And if they come home after 18 not using it, or they abuse it and they go overboard, hey, I might not be happy about it, but I gave them the tools, and I argue with them. I argue with my sons. My sons get angry at me. I argue with them over the Sabbath table about God. They get angry at me. Oh, you don't believe in God. You're crazy. You're wacko pop. You know what? I want them to use their brain to argue back with me. I want them to be able to use their brain, so when it comes time to stand before the Supreme Court, or they come stand before a judge, or they come stand before whatever job they're doing, they can logically use both sides of their head. Whether a guy like me, who is, what do you call me, a devil's advocate that always goes on the other side. I'm not always on the other side. I'm just sometimes telling you.
You can be on both sides.
I can be on both sides.
You can be on both.
I can be on both. Larry, thank you for your call.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I just want you, he was a nice man. I want you to know, guys, that it's not only the chicken story that I'm talking about. I'm not complaining about your
Is that 303-9090?
718-303-90. But I have
Uncle Heshy show?
I have a question for you.
Uncle Heshy.
I like Simcha Feld. I actually like the man.
You voted for him?
He used to come to my question to you is, in the last 2 years, have you heard him do anything? Anything? Zero.
No, but he does have an office.
He does have an office.
Yeah.
Besides Greenfeld screaming every once in a while and his voting, you should check his voting record, guys.
Oh, I'd love to.
You should check his voting record on the stuff that he's voting for.
Real estate.
He's on the real estate board.
The
man is, and you should see what's on his community board. He has people on his community board who are rabbis who have no knowledge of anything about construction. You should talk about this guy, Handler. It's incorrect. This guy, Handler, ask him, how do you build a wall? How do you read a set of plans? And the man is on the community board deciding if a building is too high or too small or belongs there. You don't know anything about construction. You know nothing about architecture.
What does he know?
He knows about being godly and how to his community.
He knows how to work politics.
He knows how to work
really
politics.
What it comes down to.
Why is he on the board? Why is he picking people that have no experience? And that's what it is. It's friendship that he owes, and that's how he got elected, and that's why Mr. Greenfeld thinks he's going to run for the assembly in the next office. And if I have a shot at it,
the assembly,
he's going to run for assembly. He's a councilman, but he can't run for councilman again. He ran too many times. Now there's term limits on the council, I think. And the assembly, there's no thinking. I think he wants to replace Dov Heiken, and we are not going to let it this time. Even if I have to run, and even though he's going to beschmutz my name and he's going to talk bad about me, I really don't care. You people are going to have an option this time. Me, head to head with Mr. Greenfeld. I am going to run against you, Mr. Greenfeld, and I'm not going to let you go sit in our state assembly and vote for more Satmar and more stupid programs. Do you know that they want to give over the whole. Mr. Greenfield is going to give over the whole sanitation. That's what the ruling now. The gossip is he's going to turn over the whole sanitation on 19th Avenue or 20th Avenue to the Satmar community. Need to build $1 billion some kind of development there. You'll watch, and he's going to be one of the members voting because nobody else in the city council will agree with him.
He's the president of the land use committee.
Right, and it's unacceptable that you give it to them. Unacceptable. It should be made into a
they don't
park.
have to pay the
It should
dollar?
be made into housing for
They don't
poor
have
people.
to pay the dollar?
I don't think so.
Why can't it be regular housing?
Regular housing. Why can't you break it into block and lots and let everybody bid for it properly? Why can't it go up for open auction in smaller lots?
How big is the place?
It's pretty big. It's a couple blocks long.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, look at that sanitation. It's at least
on
two.
Both sides,
both
right?
sides. I think it's like 3 or 4 blocks long.
You sure?
I don't know, but it's.
Well, they did the same thing in the city with what was it, Hudson Yards? They basically took the sanitation there before?
There's still sanitation.
Right, so
there.
we don't.
But they auctioned it off to the highest bidder.
I don't think they auctioned it off.
We don't need a sanitation depot?
I think they're moving the sanitation to Hamilton Avenue. They built this whole new thing over there. And that's another problem. Since they're not going to be close in our neighborhood, we're going to have a problem about it. Let's take it. Oh, we're going to have to do some ads before we go to station break. But we'll do that after this caller. Caller, how are you? Welcome to the Justin of Heshy Show.
Yeah, hi. Good evening.
Hey,
Good
how
evening.
are you?
How are you?
Okay. This is what I personally heard from David Greenfield. So this is why I heard of other things, but this is what I heard from him. He actually thinks of us as fools. Because if you remember that's why that's why he does everything. That's why he conducts himself. He actually thinks we're fools. If you remember, there was.
You said you heard this personally from him?
I mean, what I'm going to say now. No, what I'm going to we'll be following. It just proves that what he thinks of us.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so what happened was, if you remember, like a couple years back, I don't know how long, it was David Strobin was running against Lou Fidler for the state senate.
Correct. It was a special election.
Right. So what happened was that was right past with the same-sex marriage. Right after that bill was passed, that's when the race was just past that. I think it was the general election in November. Him and Lou Fidler. So it happened. Lou Fidler's campaign was on one of his platform was that he said that he's going to introduce into the public schools, the same gender marriage curriculum. So and
that's probably going to go over great.
So David Greenfield said he was campaigning for Lou Fidler. So David Greenfield said that people were saying that this has to do with the same gender marriage. Says, well, how could you say such a thing? Same gender marriage, the law passed already. There's nothing about. But he took us as a fool that we didn't realize that Lou Fidler, his platform was for locally in the public school to introduce all kinds of these types of material, all these curriculum into the public school about introducing little kids to these things. So he took us as a fool. The same thing that he accused the community, the people that were supporting Strobin, that was saying that this is that don't go with him because his platform is against our views. That's exactly what he was guilty of.
Yeah, and look what he did with Joe Hines.
Right. 1 minute he's for him,
right.
Next minute he's against him. Thank you, caller, for the call. We appreciate it. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead. What's the other thing?
Because he
anything against Greenfield, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, when he was part of the Sephardic, he was part of that federation. Just that we have the Sephardim have the Sephardic Federation. So he introduced he had a thing, Teach NYS, which is I don't know if he's still affiliated with that. So he claimed that when Aguda went to Albany to fight for, this was even back then when they went to fight for tax credits, he claimed, and I guess he saw that the Teach NYS was not going to, the vouchers were going to work. So he claimed that Aguda, that it was his, idea what's it called? He brought up the tax credit issue.
Right, which is 100% not true. 100%.
Right, because Doug Vikings worked on it 30 years.
Right.
He just takes us as fools. You know what I'm saying? He does.
So I have a question. But I have a question for you, Cole.
The call is making a mistake.
Yeah.
All politicians take us as fools.
But my question is, why are we re-electing them time and time again? I mean, Greenfield is 12 years or 10 years.
It's all about money.
It's not all about money. We got to stop it. We today with the internet and with the local news and going door to door, why don't we elect other people? And don't tell me nobody knew about it. When my son ran for the Senate or the councilman, he did get 20% of the vote. So people did know. They were just, are you telling me we're all stupid? We're all games? We're all fools? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
They play mostly in this community, followed to the leader,
and we got to stop that. We got to stop that.
People have to understand that it's all bogus.
Thank you, caller, for your call, and call us again anytime. Anyways, you're listening to the Just Enough Heshy show. Right? Who pays for the show?
Who pays for the show? Well, everyone that listens pays for the show.
That's right.
Who pays for dinner?
Well, we've got Black Label electronic cigarettes. BLPremiumEsig.com. You can call Mikey 561-239-5941. We've got Sarah Shapiro Halberstam, psychotherapy and couples counseling. You could email her at sarah@mytherapist.info, or you can call her office 800-873-0323, extension 709. We've got Mr. Clean Dry Cleaning, free pickup and drop-off, 25% off if you mention the show for the first time, and then you get 15% off for life. As long as you're... Well, I made that up.
Don't get me in trouble
But basically, 25% off if you mention the Just Enough Heshy show. You can email at mrcleandelivers@gmail.com, or you can call at 347-369-3051. And, of course, Green Line Building Solutions, asbestos and lead inspection, DOB, HPD code compliance, violations, permits and plans, preventative maintenance. They lift stop work orders, and you can call for a free consultation with Green Line Building Solutions. The number is 718-871-0382. Of course, you're listening to the Just Enough Heshy show. We're on every Monday and Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. You can hit us up on Facebook or Twitter at Just Enough Heshy. We're also live streaming on YouTube, and if you'd like to advertise or reach us in any other way, you can email at justenoughheshy@gmail.com, and of course call in at 718-303-9090.
And if you do advertise with us, you become an automatic member to the Club Corver whenever it opens up.
I don't know if that's a perk or...
I don't know. By the way, I want to tell you, somebody said before the show tonight is not being childish, so I got to have a childish story on the show before we go to a break. And here we go. There was a guy who was doing hard time. Okay, hard time. What happened was there was a guy, he says that he sued the government for $10 million. This guy, Rodney Cotton, he was arrested for some parole violation, something stupid, and they put him in jail for 6 days. Now, he had some kind of a bipolar disorder, so they didn't give him the real medicine. They gave him some kind of, what's it called again, a secondary, a generic medicine. And what happened was it made him, I don't know how to say this with class, to be erectile, he should be erected. How do you say that? To have an erection, and he had the erection for 6 days straight. And he was crying and bitching and hollering, and he says, please help me, please help me. They gave him ice and Tylenol. They said it won't go away. And
it actually does sound pretty terrible.
And after you can laugh at it, but after 6 days, they finally sent him Bellevue, and they cut him, and they gave him stitches, and then the stitches didn't go away. They couldn't give him anesthesia. And finally,
they didn't give him anesthesia.
I know, it was terrible. And finally, you want to know how much they settled for with him? They gave him $750,000.
How did he get it again?
Tax free.
He has a bipolar disorder, and tax free. He has bipolar disorder. They gave him a generic medicine.
No, but why was he in jail?
A parole violation of something that he had some drugs years ago, and then he got out of jail, and he was doing parole violation. And he probably had some kind of other illegal medicine on him, maybe he went out of the district, or he was caught drinking.
So that commercial on TV, when it says call your doctor,
4 hours. How about 6 days? Jeez.
Right, this guy was screaming and in pain and all that. Anyways, we're coming to the commercial, so I'm going to give you my mid-show quote. That's it. Are you ready for this? And this is a simple one, and I want my children to listen to this. Children, listen to this quote. This is the quote of the of the, I can't say of the year because I'm going to have better ones.
Right.
This is the quote of
Until now.
For now. Don't handicap your children by making their lives easy. What are you getting angry?
I'm done with you.
What are you telling me? That was a good quote.
Hey, what about
all these parents that want their children to
what's his name?
Work for it, they have to suffer for it.
No. I never said that. Not suffer. Don't make their lives easy. Make it. Have a hard discussion with them. Argue with them.
What about what's his name? The Billy Buffett. He's giving his kids $1 million each and saying
whatever.
You gotta earn it.
6 years
Stay
old,
tuned.
right?
Wait a minute. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back after commercial break.
5
Yes.
minutes,
No. We're getting only tuned, everybody. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody, from Station Break. We are in the second hour of the Just Enough Heshy show. And again, tonight we have no guests. It's only us guys over here. So we're just sitting around talking and just whatever you want to talk about. I know we had a couple of serious previous shows on God, and we brought up a lot of crazy issues, and we upset you. Listen to me, guys. This is where I do my little 2-minute speech here. You can believe whatever you want. Do whatever you want. You're supposed to. That's what the life is about. And believe in anything you need to believe in to make your life a better inner peace, like I started the show. But having somebody brainwash you, having somebody tell you this is the way it is, you're allowed to go to the speeches, you're allowed to go to the conferences, you're allowed to hear what they have to say and preach to you. But if you're going to say that he's the right one and he's the right way and his answers are the right one, you are incorrect. The same way we said this president is the right president, this is our leader. If we're always going to be brainwashed by these people, then we have a problem. And I know they're all holy men. And you know what? There's a lot of men that I know that are not big rabbis or big speakers. But if you sit with them in your synagogue and you sit with them in your church, these are the people that sometimes have a good, interesting quote, a good, interesting tap on life. And so our previous shows were just to show you, hey, look, everybody's got an opinion. Man, woman. Some people are too prevalent in their idealistic things, and they won't budge under no circumstances. You know what? I know guys who quit smoking and will never go back to smoking and hate smokers. I try. I know guys who lose weight and say, oh, being fat was stupid, which I was at one point, very fat and then skinny, and always wanted to diet. There's always somebody that breaks the extreme. You're allowed to experience the extremes, but know one thing: you're pushing your will on other people, saying that other people's ways are wrong. That is wrong, and that was my point of the last 4 shows. We're going to have another show. I'm hoping we have a future guest coming on, Z, called Footsteps. They're going to be one of our guests.
What is that?
They're a program that takes people who are in the religious, Hasidic, or Christian, or any community, and they want to experience away from their religion, and they haven't been experiencing the world, so they show them how to get educated, to get more education, how to get
most of the people coming out of these communities they can't even spell.
But it's not only the Jewish community; it's the Christian community. You have young girls who are teenage pregnancies that don't have a chance. This program is supposedly, I don't know if they're a good program, but what I've read about them, they take people to the next level. level, and at least show you the right way, try to help you the right way. And again, it's not something that I believe in. Again, gay marriage, I never said gay marriage is right. I never said gay marriage is wrong. I'm saying the word marriage for gay people is right. I'm not saying if you're gay that it's right. Hey, Mr. Councilman, gay marriage has now been legalized around the United States. Why aren't you getting up and protesting it? Why aren't you having the state go and fight in court and spend money to supersede or overturn the Supreme Court? Why aren't you part of the deal? You know why? Because there's no money in it for you, and I'm sure there's more income revenue for your little pockets over there. Anyways, I want to do the horoscope because Hesty's not around.
Oh, okay.
And if it is your birthday today, happy birthday to you. You are a consummate professional at the office and ever protective of those at home. That's very good. This year, with the presence of a lucky planet, which I don't really care about, you can gain a great deal of satisfaction from what you do while your cash flow increases. It's a year of restructure and live your best life. It's for everybody. Try to do better with your life. Try to experience life is getting better. The economy, I'm hoping, gets much better this year. And as we look, even though Greece tried to screw the whole world, you see the market didn't drop too much. We're going to have to fix those people up in the Greece country because they're trying to get away with it for something for free, and they're not going to get away with it. Anyways, if it's your horoscope today, everyone is entitled to their opinion, but in the long run, yours is the only one that counts. Wow. Well, I wish it was my horoscope. When you know, do your best and maintain the integrity that has made you who you are, that nothing said by those around you can and should take you off track. And that's very true. If your integrity is with you, anything you say is good for you, even if they scream and holler on you, even if Uncle Heshy freaks out on you. By the way, I want to tell you a cute little story. July 4th, a place in New Jersey, they wanted to do the firecracker thing.
Yeah.
And they put the firecrackers too far to the water, and the water made it wet, so they couldn't have firecrackers on July 4th. So like the idiots, they did it the next day. I mean, it was cute to have a show there.
Who cares?
But what do you mean, right? Who cares? July 5th is not the point, right? I know.
Well, did you hear about that guy that lit the firework off his head?
No.
You guys discussed that on the show?
What happened?
Oh, this guy in Maine lit fireworks off of his head. Guess what happened?
It blew up.
He died.
He died?
Yeah.
A wacko.
It's what we call the Darwin Award candidate. Darwin Award. Are you familiar with that?
Right.
You know what that is?
I did about that. Darwin Award.
It's basically, because Darwin, it's natural selection and evolution. So basically people that kill themselves in stupid ways, they do their best to, survival of the fittest and help the evolution. So we call them the Darwin Award candidates.
Let's take a caller.
Yeah.
Neil is not around, caller, so you're going to lose my voice of reason on this one. He's out smoking a cigarette, but he'll be back and we'll fill him in. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Mitch? How's everything going?
Hello, Mitch. Mitch, I want to ask you a question before we start the show. We had a 4-show program, progressive rabbis from religious, whatever, makes no difference. These rabbis are supposedly all future thinkers, modern thinkers, and the way I have the feeling of them is, and don't get me wrong, callers out there, that I don't believe from the religious to the non-religious, the way I got it from them is they don't really care about God. They care about the Torah, which God gave us. They want to follow some contract, but I don't believe they have the love of God. That means above most, I don't believe that they actually love God. I believe they love themselves.
Well, Ash, I think you're being a little bit unfair here because
Go ahead.
each of these people who are here, I think, were different. I think each had a specific difference in things. Now, I'm as you know, I took on the rabbi yesterday, and I told her the thing that I could not in any way have a situation in terms of even slightly giving into is the concept of if a male is Jewish and a woman is not, that the child would be Jewish in the Reform movement. I cannot. That's one thing that is not in any way.
Why is that, Mitch? Why is that, Mitch? Who made the rules? So you're saying that the Torah.
Hold on. Do you know the reason why it's based on the mother?
Why?
Do you know the reason?
I don't know the reason.
What do you think the reason is?
Well, first of all, number one, okay, just to point the reason why I can't go along with
Educate him.
One of the things which some of them did say, which I totally disagree with in this, when you look at the Torah and you look at a specific line of explanation, they're taking it literally. Like, for example, where it says You should not cook a mother
a kid in his mother's milk.
The concept of cooking the milk in its mother's thing.
The baby goat in its mother's milk, yeah.
Right. Now, if you want to look at it literally, oh, I'm sorry, I can't cook it. Oh, it's fine. But obviously, we get that from there is the concept that you can't mix milk and meat. It's not like it's. And the thing about even tefillin is not. It doesn't say specifically how to put on tefillin. That's why, if you are religious, you must not take the Torah totally literally, and you must have something called the oral law.
Right, but what they believe, what Mitch, Neil here.
Yeah.
Good evening. What they believe is that they have a right.
Who's they?
The conservative.
Why conservative? Why not the religious?
The religious.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say.
All of them believe that they have a right to interpret as they see fit. Each sect, each group. And what happens
for themselves.
Right,
not for God, for themselves.
What do you mean not for God? They say this is their religion.
But it doesn't make a difference. God
One second. So there are lines. One minute, Mitch. So there are lines that will have 10 different people explaining it a different way, and then there are lines that you'll have some people taking literally. In other words, everyone believes they have the option to see it how they see it. And figuring out why and the reasoning behind their thinking is another story. But the idea that they're allowed to make change or express their definition of what it says to meet what they like, what they feel fits, everybody feels that way. It's been done like that for a million years.
I was told.
We're missing the whole point. It's so simple.
I was told today. Again, I was driving with somebody in my car, and he was screaming at me. He says, listen, if you look at the Torah, the physical Torah, you look at from China to Israel, wherever it is, anywhere that you see the physical parchment paper has never changed in 3,000 years. And I told him,
look it up on the internet.
And I told him, if you go back, the oldest living Torah is maybe from the 1100s, and even he says from the 1100s it's never changed. So if you want to calculate, he says the Torah has never been changed by one letter. I said, but the interpretation of the Torah, even the Christian Bible, really hasn't been changed, even though they have the New Testament, but the original old Bible is always exactly the same. No?
Yeah.
Well, like
you have Bible, preachers.
But this has nothing to do with any of that. It's very simple. That's why I asked from the beginning. Do you know the reason why it's based on the mother, not the father?
Oh, that was the question.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing to do with. Or it's just very simple. You can't know with 100% certainty who the father is, but the mother, you see it coming out of her, you know that it's definitely Jewish because she's Jewish, and so on and so forth. You don't know, you can't base it on the father. If the father, you might not know who he is. How are you going to ever figure that out?
So you convert the child. You tell the child at the age of 12
We're talking
or
about
13.
Being born Jewish is based on the mother because we know that she's Jewish and we know the baby came from her. We don't know who the father is with 100% certainty.
So if somebody wants to accept Judaism like Trump's daughter or Clinton's daughter, you want to be Jewish, you go through the conversion
100%.
process, and that's it. It works the same way.
There's nothing to do with, that's the reason why we keep it based on the woman.
You want to get a privilege of not going through the whole conversion process, so you're born a Jew. It's an easy way out. There's never an easy way out.
By the way,
I don't know if I would convert.
First,
Mitch, you're not clear. Mitch, fix your phone.
Yeah.
Fix your phone.
All right, fine. I'll do the best I can. You can't have a situation where, you said about, changes. I mean, obviously, as I mentioned to her yesterday, look, wasn't the early Christians, who were all Jews, by the way, all of them were Jews, all the disciples were Jews. What happened is then the Christians then allowed people to come in who were Gentiles and didn't make them go through the process of the bris, which is like the big deal. So you could say, well, they interpreted.
Lost him. Get back, Mitch.
But you know what I think. You know,
303-9090.
I know where Mitch was going with this. That other people converted into Christianity and so on. I have a question for you. You know the Ethiopian Jews that I was talking to you about this the other day, Neil.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of Jews in Ethiopia that they shuttled over to Israel.
Right.
And they said, "Oh, these guys."
Have a big problem in Israel now with that.
Forget about that. But you know what they're saying?
That was a big project.
But 1 minute. Yeah. So they said that these Ethiopian people must be Jews because on Passover they cleaned their huts, and the way they did their prayers were the same way as the Jews. And when it came time for
they lit candles,
on Shabbos. So what my point to you is when a conquering nation goes into another country, usually the people are either subservient or become slaves or become
in the olden days.
So when your master or your countryman or your government takes over, they make a bunch of laws, and you, the people, must follow the laws of the country. So these Ethiopians, which were not Jews, I mean, that's the way I'm thinking of it, they went and followed the laws of their...
It bothers you that they're Jewish?
It don't bother me that they're Jewish, but the way you're telling it to me, or the way Mitch is telling it to me, or the way Z is telling it to me, oh, the only way you could be Jewish is upon birth. No, if you take upon...
I didn't say that.
If you take upon the actions of another religion or goodness or kindness, you can be called a Jew no matter what. You don't have to be born a Jew to be a Jew.
You don't have to be. A lot of prominent rabbis weren't born Jewish, and they turned into Jew. I mean...
Yeah,
a lot
look
of
at
people.
Jesus.
Well, he was born Jewish.
He was born Jewish. Or was he born Jewish?
Listen, honestly, when was the last time any of us actually checked our lineage? It's very hard to really go back there. We just kind of have to trust.
I love these families that think they know, like they go back.
Right, from the tribe of, we're from the tribe of Yehuda.
We don't know the Sefer Torah exactly, even,
but we know
but they know that,
But it's in all the religions like that. We could date back to Plymouth Rock. We could date back to Columbus or Mary Queen of Scots or
King
George.
Mayflower. Right.
It's so full of it that these people, that they figure that out, is no possible way.
Well, they have all these websites now that could trace back.
It's not possible. I don't even know how those
can't be 100%.
It can't be. I'm telling you, if I put in a bunch of...
You're going to end up, by the time of evolution or by the time of the Big Bang, you're going to
know which monkey family you came from in the zoo. I came from that monkey
people
family.
Have the same names, whatever. I don't believe any of it. Guys, I want to talk...
What same name?
You know, like, for example, I told you, my family did not come to America till after the war. My father and my mother came during whatever they were escaping. I went to a cemetery in Staten Island where saw my last name spelled identical on a whole family plot of Tischlers, and they actually had first names that match the first names of my family.
Right.
Yeah.
So in theory, it doesn't make sense that people have like Neil. You have another guy Neil, like you, and it doesn't make sense that your father, your mother, and the aunts and the brothers all have this. Two families have almost identical sets of names, unless they were brothers or cousins.
Unless they were related somehow.
And I know that it's not possible that I was related to them at all.
Why?
Because that's the way my father told me that nobody came, and my mother told me.
Maybe they just had a fight 150, 75 years
so
ago.
The point is right. So if I just figure...
Because the cemetery stone, how old was it, by the way? When
1890s.
Okay.
Not possible. Not possible.
How could it be not possible? It's right there. You saw it with your own eyes, yeah?
I saw it with my own eyes.
Okay.
And I went back to this was a man that we found in the hospital, in Cavalier Hospital, and me and my son buried him. And when I was walking through the cemetery, I go back now once a year when I can to say a prayer for him, because it's my responsibility. We buried him over there, and I go visit these graves, and it just bothers me. It eats me up that I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, so why don't you do a little homework?
Okay, it costs money. I'm not interested. I have a question for you guys. You know that I've been bitching about the Holocaust the last couple of weeks. Nobody wants to give me an answer why it happened. Nobody wants to tell me. They said it says it. Rabbi Mizrahi said it's in there. So
stop.
I want an answer, Neil, but nobody's giving me an answer, so I don't really care. Okay,
because you know you can't get an answer.
I do have the answer, by the way.
No, you don't.
I do. It's okay. Anyways.
It's a secret now?
It's not a secret.
You have an answer and you're not going to tell us?
It's not a secret.
Well, I don't hear you saying anything.
Okay, so the answer why the Jews were persecuted and why we allowed it to happen is, I'll tell you why. You understand we have the 1%, right? The 1% that were rich and super above everybody else, we have that in America too, and we take advantage of the lower people. So back then, even in America, in the late 1800s, we had the rich who controlled the city, and then you had the poor that's lived in slums,
With the push carts,
the push carts, and they lived in squalor, they lived in huts. The 1% took advantage and said, you know what, these people are getting a chance, they're shooting up, like even with the government today. Till the 1890s till Teddy Roosevelt, the rich controlled the laws. Till Teddy Roosevelt says, oh no, I'm gonna make monopolies not acceptable. I'm gonna change the laws that you don't control the laws of the land. And people got pissed. That's why Teddy wasn't elected a second time, because he went against the 1% of the rich. He went against the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and so on. Yeah. So my point is it was not the Jews that killed the Jews. It was the 1% of the world that said, you know what, it's time to get these guys who are coming up, like the government today. You know, the reason Obama got elected and so on, because there's so many people that we owed favors to, that the 1% had to allow the little people in to make a change. And these 1%ers or 2%ers now see that, hey, in a couple of more years, we're not going to be the 1% taking all the money. These little people are going to start grabbing some of the cash too. It's going to be 20% rich. There are more millionaires out there.
20% rich. They're going to be entitlement programs.
Right.
That's what it
okay,
is.
But there's going to be now more millionaires, more billionaires, and we're going to be able to reach for the stars. And these guys who control all the funds and all the buildings and all the money are going to have to start sharing it, and they can't take it. And that's why there was a Holocaust.
So you mean blowing apart capitalism is?
What do you mean share
is
it?
what the Holocaust was about?
Yes, the Holocaust was all about capitalism from America, who let them do it to us. I'm telling you now, it was all about money. It was all about, and if you want to know what you think I'm all crazy, when Schindler, who saved 1,100 Jews, how did he save it? I mean, the Nazis wanted all the Jews wiped out, correct? There was no excuse. Final solution: wipe them out, kill them, and destroy them.
They used them for workers.
Forget workers. They allowed him to buy the Jews.
Right.
He was upset that he didn't have enough money to buy more. That means that they were actually going to say, you know what, Jews, you could live if somebody pays for you.
Right.
So
there was a lot of that going
Right. So
around.
we were a commodity. We were a commodity. That's all. It was all about the bottom line buck, from the Germans to the Austrians to the Polish.
Hey, why do you think they had all these rabbis coming to raise funds?
Right.
Because every $1,000 was worth whatever. I don't know how many people.
And how come they couldn't raise more? How come we didn't give them more? How come the Jews didn't throw all their cash out of their pockets? I mean, if you're dying right now of cancer and you have $1 billion, and they say, listen to me, you're going to be broke the rest of your life. But if you give me all your money, you can live another 40 years. Like people say, you'll give it to them. I don't know if I would, but that's not the point. The point is,
you're taking it with you.
I'm taking it with me. The point is why didn't everybody, from Jews to Christians to Muslims, pack up all the money? I mean, America had billions of dollars then. Pack it up, buy out all the Jews. And I'm going to tell you another funny story right now. Do you know?
That was a funny story?
It's not a funny story.
When were we supposed to? Which part were we laughing at?
The reason why I bring this up to you as well, there is.
What show are we on?
We're on the Just Enough Heshy show.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. And we got to do an
718
303-9090. You right?
See, I remembered the 718 part.
Right.
Okay.
But there's a guy, I just want to tell you why I brought this up. Yeah. There's a White House Republican hopeful that wants to curb legal immigration. Republican 2016 presidential hopeful Scott Walker and Rick Santorum are suggesting a potential controversial way to boost American job prospects.
It's not such a crazy idea.
Make fewer legal immigrants. Yeah. What do you mean? They're entitled to come here.
Who?
Entitled by
Nobody's entitled to anything.
They're legal immigrants. They're legal.
Right.
They're legal.
So we have to make a limit.
So they don't want even illegal to come in.
No, they want to put a limit now.
There's a limit. They didn't say
financial issue.
Financial issue. That's again.
You're the guy who just crying that we should send all the money there, whatever.
He wants to stop it. No, to save them.
He wants to stop it or limit.
We should have sent the money there to save them and bring them to America and save their lives.
He wants to stop it or limit.
Stop. Not only stop it, but he wants to
adjust it.
Okay, there already are limits. There's a reason why there's a certain amount of applicants every year for a green card. It's not just open door policy. Everybody comes in, no limit. There already is.
The notion, absent from presidential politics for at least 20 years, could help them tap into frustrations of worker class voters who have struggled with stagnant wages and reduced job opportunities since the American economic
crisis. Is that
crisis.
so far-fetched? It doesn't make sense to you?
It doesn't make sense to me.
There already are limits on immigration. You know that, right? It's not like every single...
Which shouldn't be.
So the whole world will just move to America because we're the best country, right? You got to think a little bit more than 1 second ahead.
Right. Why do you have a right to give away my country?
Why don't we have 4 billion people living in America?
Yeah. Why giving away your country?
Yeah.
It's
our country.
It's everybody's country.
No, it's not. It's ours.
Why is it people's in India's country?
Excuse me. Then you are a big error, my son.
I'm no
If you look at the Statue of Liberty, what we're based on, give me your poor, give me your tired.
To a limit.
All right.
What limits?
The box is full. The box is full.
I don't see the box is full. There's so much more we can do.
Oh, there already are limits.
There's so many trillions.
So you're saying it should just be open borders? Everyone is coming.
You don't want Donald Trump's vision.
Yeah, he wants to make the fence bigger. That's what he wants to do.
You know what? I am so happy you said that. Donald Trump,
he's the man.
Really?
Right. I want to stay on that topic for a second.
Back up.
Do you know that Donald Trump was building a big hotel in Washington, D.C., has illegal immigrant workers who are bitching that Donald Trump should shut his mouth.
Right. And that's because his contractor gave the subcontract, and that's all.
And he's not watching
it. He's clean as a whistle.
But he's getting cheap labor, and he's able to build his hotel profitable because he's abusing illegal immigrants. So Donald Trump, you're a piece of garbage.
How many people a year do you think get a green card in the United States?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
1 million?
Yeah, 55,000.
55,000 a year.
That's it.
Is that terrible?
That's great.
It's great.
No, but what do you mean? You got 3 million coming in anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
Right.
You know what I always hate? Whenever I have this discussion about illegal immigrants, they're always like, well, your parents are immigrants and blah, blah, we're all immigrants. They keep on forgetting there's legal and illegal. Nobody's saying you shouldn't be able to come into the country legally if you go through all the process and everything.
But you know why they come here illegally? Their families are being killed.
That's great.
They're starving.
Why is that our problem?
They're never going to make it if they
go
through
the legal. Why is that our problem?
What do you mean? It's of course it's our problem. Don't you? Again, we're going right back then to the Bible. Be my brother's keeper. Follow, help your fellow man. Love your fellow. So then you guys don't believe in the Torah. I got you.
Where does it say, the amount you're supposed to do? Maybe you're supposed to help your next door neighbor.
You are.
Why are you going all the way to Colombia or Afghanistan?
This all comes down.
Neil, I'm not talking you and me, but the government that has the power, the monies and the trillions of dollars.
You want your tax dollars going to someone else.
You're so busy with my tax, my penny ante stuff. When we have big trillions of dollars, when we have, like Esty said, we have so much land here, so many places to expand.
We're broke.
We're not broke.
All of our money belongs to China. It all comes down to whether you're a realist.
Let's do what Greece did. Tell China jump in.
If you want to be bankrupt like Greece, that's what you. So you're saying we should be bankrupt as a country.
Fantasy.
It's in theory, this is all great. The problem is there's dreamers and there's realists. Yeah, and dreamland. Yes, everyone come to America. It's all great. Exactly. We'll all stand together and hold hands and talk about. In the real world, there's actually financial constraints that you have to think about.
That's where we're going back again. It's all about the bottom line buck.
It's not about. It's not because we want it to rule our lives. It's because it's a fact. Like we need a certain amount of money coming in so we can give to people.
So what happens when people are coming to this country?
It doesn't mean that you're a greedy person because you think with your brain about
coming
money.
To this country when the families are being killed. It's not called illegal immigration.
It's
called amnesty.
Okay, and they have a certain amount. Again, it's not just a free-for-all for everybody. There has to be a limit. You can't just have 4 billion people living in a country.
That was supposed to, by the way,
it's not so complicated.
When Reagan gave amnesty. Think about it. A Republican, Reagan, gave amnesty, but he didn't shut the border.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's an idiot.
There are certain concessions that they make for certain situations. If there's a war and they need, refugees, whatever. It doesn't just mean that it's in theory, it sounds great. It'll be a free-for-all. Let's just make it the United States of the world.
The country is
exactly.
open.
Yeah. Why do they all need to come here?
Is open.
We do more than the rest of the world put together.
You're wrong. Canada is open.
No, it's not.
What are you talking about?
Anybody flying into Canada when they land can ask for immediate citizenship, and they're given citizenship.
There's a limit.
No, there isn't.
There's no limit. I don't believe that for a second.
Check it out. Producer, check it out. Canada becomes automatic. I want to ask you a question.
But it doesn't matter. They have much less of a demand.
Since you're also philosophically smarter than me, I want to ask you a question. The prosecutors today seek 3.5 years for Auschwitz guard. Prosecutors sought a prison sentence on Tuesday for a 90-year-old former SS immigrant who served at Auschwitz in Nazi-occupied Poland.
What country?
I don't know. I don't know. I just read
this. It's not America.
Is it not America? It must be one of the. It's not Germany. I think it's
probably like Hungary or something.
Okay. The point. I don't think it's Hungary.
No?
I think it's one of the.
Doesn't say it.
I did, but I didn't print it out. It does say.
I googled Canadian immigration. The first headline: most Canadians in favor of limits on immigration.
But there are no limits. Am I correct?
I don't know.
There are no limits. I am right about that.
And how's it working out? Most people are setting it up.
It's working out fine.
And that's why all the Muslims are taking over Canada and turning it into a hellhole.
Hold on. But do you see Canada? Hello, did you ever see Canada have any suicide bombers recently besides one idiot that went to attack over there and shoot?
No, they all come here.
Okay, do you see anybody in Canada really doing bad drugs over there or smuggling and a lot of stuff over there? They have their crimes.
20 million
it's
people
very simple.
Across the whole Canada.
Hold on.
Million.
There's no limit, but they have very tight.
State.
They have very tight criteria. They have very tight criteria. They do a lot of checking before you come in. You don't just come off the plane and say, "Make me a citizen."
No, but you need a certain amount of money, I think.
You have to be, and you have to have a certain job. You have to have a certain skill. You have to have. It's called working class. You can't just come in off the street or from wherever and contribute nothing. You have to show that you have an education, a job. It's not so simple. It's not just a free-for-all for everybody.
We're going to take another call.
No country would do that because it would be the end of their country.
I don't think so. You're listening to the Just Enough Heshy Show, 718-303-9090. You all know that I'm right. You all know that I'm talking the good way.
You're talking hypothetical. Because you're making believe whoever
it sounds great. And we should also get rid of all the guns because hypothetically it sounds so simple. But in reality, it's different.
You should.
You're right, but in reality, it doesn't work that way.
That killed
who?
I don't know who. I just read in the news there was a woman who carried a gun, and somebody came into her apartment or whatever, attacking, and she just shot him dead.
Where was this?
This was in the last 48 hours.
Where? I read something about that. I read something else.
Great, good for her.
Yeah,
that's what guns are for. Because other people have guns.
Can we take a call? Mitch is calling back. Mitch, how are you? Welcome back.
Yeah, we lost you.
I hope
how you doing, guys?
Good, baby. Good.
Heshy, one thing you have to understand, and I'll try to educate you a little bit here, is when the famous line on Statue of Liberty is written by that great Jewish poet, it was done in the midst of the 19th century where there was a lot of room, a lot of space, and when people came here, it was to work.
That's me clapping for you.
Become Americans.
Yeah.
Problem is now
everyone wants a free ride. Oh, come to America and they'll give you a this, they'll give you a that, they'll give you money. That's the problem. The people that were coming in the 19th century came to work.
And they don't.
And not only that, but one of the important things I would tell you, Hesh, is this. If I am from one of these third world countries and I want to come to the United States, but I tell you, you can't go to New York, you can't go to Chicago, you can't go to the state of Texas, Florida, or California. You can go to Wyoming. What would you say to that? In other words,
that's where the room is, right?
Mitch, listen to me. I'm not saying you can't go to New York, California, or anywhere. What we're telling you is just like when the Cuban came over in the 1980s. They put them all in these prison camps or whatever you want to call them. And after a while, they allowed them into Florida. They allowed them to emigrate across the United States. You got to put them, you got to make a rule.
And what we find out, they were all let out of prison.
Not all of them were bad. You had a couple of bad ones. You had a couple of gangsters.
They say Castro emptied his prisons.
And most of them turned out to be good men, good fathers who have contributed to the Florida.
To the cocaine.
Oh, wow. You see how you do the whole thing? You're 100% wrong. People can change. People need a new shot at it. People need a second shot. When you come out of jail, don't call somebody a convict. Give them a second chance. There's so many people who've made their lives better.
Actually, specifically, I'll talk about my family. My family came here between the two world wars, okay? Now, when they came here, before my grandmother, may rest her soul, was able to come here, she had to have a certain paper that said that people will make sure that they'll say, okay, we guarantee her situation as far as money, as far as a job. It was a major, major situation. Now, the Holocaust, which is another thing you brought up, is obviously a very sad situation because, most importantly, forget about the United States, the British did not allow the Jews into Palestine after 1937 because of the so-called Arabs. And that was the problem. And the thing about it is, if you look at the Russian Jews, you know that when I was a kid and I would go to those student struggle for Soviet Jew rallies, the major thing was we wanted the Jews to go to Israel. Guess where they went? They went 5 minutes away to me in Brighton Beach. I don't know how that happened. How they go from Israel? How they go from Tel Aviv to Brighton Beach?
No, but what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, really?
Because the thing about it is that there is not enough room. There's too much room. There's not enough space anymore. There's not enough jobs.
No, we got a big upstate New York, I got to tell you.
Upstate New York.
There's so many people that are hungry out there. There's so many streets that need to be cleaned. It's not true. There's so many sanitation jobs.
They're going to clean up the 10. They're not going to do what? You can't just have somebody come in here and not at least get the minimum wage.
I got that, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't want to.
So you believe in big government, Heshy? That's what you're saying?
I don't believe in big government.
That all the world should come and work for our government?
Not for our government. I believe in that the people should come here and help one another. Communities should work together. Have your council.
What are you talking about?
I have a question.
Why can't we help each other without?
Right. So that's why we have our local senator and our local politicians, not to run to the assembly every week and stand there, not to sit in the city council and change zoning regulations for themselves only and sell one piece of property. You should be worried about all your 150,000 constituents.
You keep on talking about that aspect. How about the actual financial and job aspect of it?
My point is
helping community is great.
Each community should go to all the businessmen and say, listen, guys, let us now create jobs for our communities. Don't be so worried that the president
right now the numbers work out great.
They
don't have such problems.
Those organizations are no good. They're all either corrupt or they're all
why wouldn't the other ones be?
Or they're all getting government aid. Right. Why did you ever hear that Mr. City Councilman David Greenfield say, you know what? I came from the Sephardic community. They all voted for me. They have a lot of money. They backed me with millions of dollars. They have the Sephardic Jewish Center. Let them help me create jobs for my own people there. Do you ever hear that the Sephardic community creating local jobs for their people?
No, because they care about the Sephardic community.
Forget about that. Greenfield.
Forget about it.
But Greenfield is our councilman. Let him take Sephardic businessmen, Satmar businessmen who are Christians, Catholics, Mexicans, all of them from the community. I want a big meeting in the community board.
Well, that's a way too overwhelming job for one person.
Really overwhelming. That's his job. Well, get the hell out.
His job is to care about
his people. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, get Greenfield out. Get Heiken. Thank God Heiken's going to maybe retire. But you know what? I bet 3-1 odds.
Every community votes in the person that cares about them.
I will not let him run again. Mr. Heiken, be prepared for me wherever Mr. Heiken. When Mr. Heiken runs for office.
There's another genius.
I think we need to get him in here for a guest.
Let me tell you about Noach.
Should we get Heiken in here?
I think Noach is a pretty good man.
I've seen Noach. Noach there had some problems as councilman. Right now, from all the judges that I've seen at civil court, and I'm being honest, and I've seen Noach work, that man is actually fair. I can't believe it. The man is not fair. He actually cares about each of the litigants. He won't let a big corporation with 19 lawyers overrun a little guy. He will make sure the law is explained on both sides, and he'll say, listen, guy, I know it's wrong, but this is the law, and I think the law is wrong, and I'm not going to let these big guys get away with it. Noach Deer, in the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years, has excelled himself not only as a judge but as a people lover, a people person, and not allowing the people to be victimized. And that's what a judge does.
Let me tell you, I remember him when he was many moons ago, when all he would ever talk about is this gay, so anti-gay. Seriously, you cannot change the spots on leopards. And Noach Deer is with Heiken and with every single religious guy who wants to be saying, trying to be a little bit of an individual.
Yeah, but Noach Deer is Noach Deer is a sitting Noach Deer is a sitting judge that each day he sits and rules and discusses and writes in public. So people are watching it.
close to going to jail. Do you remember that?
But that was years ago. Hyken? What about Mr.
I
Hyken?
never went to
Mr.
jail.
Hyken was indicted, found guilty, appealed, and won his appeal, which I agree was very nice of him because he had the money and had the power behind him.
Oh, he was found guilty?
He was found guilty and then he appealed and won his conviction, if I'm correct.
I don't remember.
Oh, he wasn't found guilty? He
I
just
don't
won his
remember him
case?
being guilty.
I thought he was.
No, he had a good lawyer.
He had a good lawyer. He had a lot of money in his campaign fund.
He still
There
does.
you go.
He still does.
I know.
Yeah, and they're allowed to take it with them.
And you're allowed to take, well, Mr. Hyken, be prepared to pack up your funds. We're sending you packing because you've done nothing in the last few years and you're so busy with
He's done something.
What? Tell me.
He's
Somebody
done
tell me.
something.
He did something in Muncie by screaming out, I haven't...
He advocates on behalf of some of his constituents.
Really? Can I ask you a question? Do you ever see... Do you see Mr. Hyken? Do you see ever Hyken?
I don't know what Mitch is saying. What, Mitch?
You know, the thing about it is that, again, you ask why do we send these politicians over and over again. The problem is, and this is sad, look how many people in this country who are eligible to vote. I'm talking about eligible. How many of them register? How many give a, you know what?
It's amazing how little the voted.
Everybody has all these ideas and they want change, but then they actually don't contribute when it matters.
I don't know why they don't vote. I was so happy when the first time I voted, and I don't miss any votes.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing thing that this country that we could vote. And the interesting thing is that people say, "Oh, I can't vote. Oh, it's getting late. I don't want to do it." All it takes is 15 seconds.
You know, from 9, they're open from 7 to 9 usually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now.
You know what I think? I think thanks to Obama, more people are going to vote than ever because the last few years, so many people were like, "Oh, it's not like he's going to win again anyway. They don't really need my little vote. It's not a big deal." And guess what?
Well,
a lot of people
screwed up big.
Mitch, who are you going? Mitch, can I ask you a question? I know it's not
I
right
can tell
to
already
ask
who
this
he's
question.
voting for.
Who are you voting for?
In the presidential election?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know which person, but he knows. I know which party he's leaning towards. That's pretty obvious.
Well, no. You see, you'd be wrong because you know what's his name? The gentleman, that nice gentleman who took over for Heshy that week, asked what I'm basically, and I'm a libertarian. The problem is with a lot of these Democrat and also Republican candidates is when it comes to social issue, like abortion, which Heshy and me totally disagree on, and gay, and thank God gay marriage is now, maybe we don't have to hear about that anymore. I mean, the problem is when you got the governor from New Jersey who's still nutty about these social issues.
Yeah.
First of all, it's ridiculous, so crowded.
It shouldn't be allowed even. It shouldn't be allowed in politics even.
Right.
It's all BS. It should be about fiscal stuff. Yeah. That's what we need.
There's 15 people running in the Republican Party.
Right.
And there's Hillary and the two other people who I can hardly remember their names.
Oh, the independent
guy.
Right,
yeah. He has 15%. Norman, it wasn't Norman Sandler. The point is, where he has 15% of the vote to 40-something, he has no chance. I mean, come on. And she's
no chance, but if he votes, but if he runs, and Trump runs, and they all take off.
Yeah, but Trump is running as Republican. Nobody's running in the Democrat against Hillary. There should be a full House when there's no
nobody's interested.
Right.
She's got too big.
It's basically assumed that Hillary is going to win the Democratic Party.
She's going to win.
I mean, is it basically assumed?
Yeah.
And who's the Republican
she
front
thinks
runner?
So. That's for
sure. There are some states, by the way, where you can actually, believe it or not, vote. Like you could be a registered Democrat and vote for a Republican, and the same thing if you're a Republican to vote to actually go.
Yeah, well, some people vote for who they think is the best candidate.
I think you mean Mitch in the general and not in the primaries. That's because everybody can vote Republican or Democrat. You mean in the?
I think it would be more interesting because I mean I'm a registered Democrat, by the way. I'm a registered Democrat, but I can tell you one thing. That I have no. This is not. Who am I going to vote for? I mean, I can't stand Hillary. I don't know even what the other guy is. I think he was the governor of Vermont or something. He's Jewish socialist. In other words, he feels that Hillary is much too conservative. So you could trying to see what our choices are out there.
But some people just go by who the best candidate is, regardless of party.
Okay, right. Mitch, we're gonna
and it's about time. 1 minute. It's about time we stop thinking like that. Because both parties are really all the same nonsense.
Right.
Each one gives corporate welfare. Each one does programs. Each one does all this. It's all make-believe, like they're two separate. They all work together day in and day out.
Mitch, I want to just tell you something, Mitch. Mitch, I just want to tell you what I just got on my email. Dov Hikind votes for two bills that recognize same-sex marriage. Mr. Hikind, it's bad enough that people like Steven Simbowitz, Joseph Lenthal, Williamsburg vote for pro-homosexuality bills because they know our community doesn't have our priorities straight and wouldn't use political pressure to force these political votes appropriately. But here we have two bills that purpose is to consider same-sex marriage equivalent to the real marriage, and of the 5 Jews in Albany who claim to be Orthodox, 5 voted for it. Dov Hikind, Philip Goldfeller, Michael Simowitz, Shelley Silver,
they would survive.
No longer has his fake whatever, and David Weprin. These are guys
who. By the way, you're forgetting the of course, the great Orthodox guy of all time, the guy who used to be the speaker. I don't think you forgot about him.
Shelley Silver.
Right. So Shelley Silver, another person who tends to be Orthodox. I'm ashamed of Shelley Silver. Forget about what he votes for. He's a crook.
Yeah, well, we know that already.
Yeah.
No,
listen, guys.
No, I don't want to let Mitch go. 1 minute, Mitch. Do you believe in your heart anywhere? What percentage of politicians are honest?
I would say out of let's say 100 because
percentage. Go with percentage.
There are 10-15% of politicians around the country are generally what I consider to be honest, hardworking. I might not agree with them.
And they are the ones that don't last. They're the ones that get thrown out after the run.
Right. They're the guys. They're the people who generally say, in other words,
because they're real idealists, or they have real ideas, and they want to make a change.
I forgot. I hate to be Norman for a second. What was the name of that famous, the Frank Capra movie, where it's where guy goes to Washington?
Mr. Smith goes to Washington. I love that movie.
That was the whole concept. That here's this guy who is a very, very ordinary person, goes to Washington, and but unfortunately, because of finances and everything like that, we don't get those type of politicians anymore. Money does win elections.
You know, 50% of all former politicians are lobbyists. 50%.
That's ridiculous. And by the way, as a lobbyist, how much money? You know, Z, you have all the information on finances. How much do these lobbyists make? I'm almost scared to ask.
I know.
Well, we're talking about, what's his name?
I'll just tell
Jack
you this. Yeah, we were talking about Abramoff, right?
Really?
Right, but I'll tell you this.
How much are they making on paper or from the side? That's the question.
I couldn't. Clinton, interesting thing you talk about Clinton, I think of course, Bill Clinton here. He makes so much money by these so-called speeches. I think he makes about $250,000.
Yeah, he does.
Even more.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
I heard that Chelsea Clinton wants to make a lot of money off speaking now, as if anybody gives a crap what she has to say.
No, but just think about these lobbyists on how well and how corrupt they really end up, all these politicians. The whole thing is a game, and they play Americans as stupid. That's a fact. And if we don't wake up, we're going to be a third world country in 25 years.
Mitch, thank you for the call. That's it, Mitch.
Yeah, great call.
Mitch, thank you, Call. You're wonderful,
Mitch.
Mitch.
Yeah, have a good.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys something, okay? And first of all, here's another a hypothetical question. You know that they captured your boy over there, the prisoner?
Yeah.
Okay. He's now going to...
Still waiting for my money.
Okay.
Oh, that's how he knows.
Yeah. You know he's going to be in prison 23 hours a day in his cell. Is that right?
He's going to be what?
Solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement.
Yeah, why not?
On 108 square...
You feel bad for this guy?
How many? What is it, a 10 by 8?
105 square feet of cell with a bed.
Wow.
And what's your problem with that?
For the rest of his life, he's 40-something years old. That's crazy. That's torture.
Are you aware what he's in prison for to begin with?
I understand he's a murderer, and when he escaped,
he's not just a murderer.
So can't we? I don't know. He escaped not from the main prison thing. He escaped at nighttime. He came up with something. We have to be more careful and watch him.
I feel, I'm one person, and I sometimes feel claustrophobic in my house.
Correct.
My whole apartment.
And I'm sure this guy's going to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, for sure.
And then if he ever does get out, even though it's for life,
they always get nervous. They all go crazy.
They all go crazy in there, and that's what makes the world crazy. I don't think it's right.
That's real torture.
Right.
I never knew it, but.
Right, it's like a dog.
Real torture.
A dog that comes out and bites you and hurts you. Why do we have to kill it?
Because he'll do it again.
He'll do it again.
Right.
Okay, next question. Ready?
Yeah. We heard about this Bill Cosby breakthrough.
I want to talk about the Bill Cosby.
Well, we only have a few minutes. So
my question is, first of all, do you know that everybody, this is from Albert Einstein, and something Einstein. If you don't get a recommended if you don't get your recommended
you gotta know how to pronounce Einstein. Otherwise, you don't look too bright.
If you don't get your recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and I like this because I did it for myself, a night, you may feel a bit zombie-ic, or the next day. People who don't get enough sleep often lose focus, alertness. So there's a solution. A 20-minute afternoon nap might just be enough to make you feel mentally busy. Sometimes I just pull over in the car. I take a 15. You can't take more than that, because if you take too much of it, take a 15, 20-minute nap, you refresh. They say Albert Einstein, whatever. He took took a 20-minute power nap every day, and it made him more better and more smarter. So my next thing to you guys, before we get to that, we had 2 blown-up spaceships in America. We have all the billions and trillions of technology, but a stupid, broken-down Russian ship made it and took all our stuff to the space station. How is that possible?
1 minute. How about that we're ordering equipment for our space shuttles from the Russians?
Right.
They're making our engines for
it. Do you believe
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
And they were able to
I don't even understand how this is happening.
Right. And they're able to have a ready-made ship to pop up anytime they want for money. And we can't do it ourselves.
No, but just think about it.
Our producer lost another call.
Having Putin decide, the engines, control over.
Yeah, but the company that's making them doesn't work for the Russian government per se.
They never know.
They're a private enterprise.
They're very tough. It's on Russian territory.
So you think they're sabotaging it?
They can, just like they do software.
Right.
Software. All of a sudden, 3 years later, your computer goes plop. What happened? It was really a bug from the beginning. The Chinese put in.
So there was a driver.
You never had that with the Chinese,
No. We're going to take another call in a minute. There was a driver slapped with an unorthodox punishment. This, I think, is cool, okay? Last fall, a Michigan woman became distracted while driving and killed a cyclist. A judge wanted to make sure that it would never happen again, so for the next 3 years, she wasn't allowed to own a telephone.
Okay. A little bit harsh.
What? For a killing?
She shouldn't be able to own a car.
Okay, she made a mistake.
Was it an accident? Was it reckless driving?
It wasn't reckless. She used her cell phone. She looked at it. She wasn't drunk. She wasn't reckless.
I see that all the time. It makes me crazy.
And what do you want to do? Everybody uses.
Because you're a guy like that. You can type and drive. You think you are, but you're only lucky.
I stopped doing that.
Only lucky.
I stopped doing that.
I don't text at all when I'm driving.
We have another caller because we're coming to the end of the show. We'll take one more call, and then we'll do some ads.
We got to get to this Cosby
we got to do it. Hello, Steve. How are you? No, it doesn't work. Push the button again. I'm pushing. Steve, how are you?
Good. How are you, Uncle Heshy?
Good, my brother. Good. Are you liking our show tonight, or are we too controversial? Not controversial? Are we crazy tonight?
Not controversial enough, Neil. First of all,
never heard that one before.
Good evening, Z.
Yeah.
Neil, you know what I really like about Uncle Heshy? I like someone who practices what they say, what they preach. Every day on the Justin F. Heshy WhatsApp, there are different quotes.
Right.
Last week, there was a quote, never cripple your kids by making it too easy for them.
Right.
I said that tonight, by the way.
Go ahead.
You know what? No one can ever accuse Uncle Heshy of making it too easy for them.
Right.
He's a slave master.
Not a slave master. Not a slave master. I don't make my kids go out to the world and rough. I want them to experience honorability, to do good, and
to have a good work ethic.
Honor nothing. Come on, help them out a little bit. Stop busting their chops.
No. I'm not asking them to work. I help them out with all the other things, but I want them to use their brain. I want them to visit the sick. I want them to speak to the young. I want them to counsel people. This is what the world is about. Like I said,
so correct me if I'm wrong. When Uncle Heshy says he wants them to use their brains when they're young, he didn't give them allowance because he wanted them to use their brains, how to connive them out of allowance.
No. I gave them allowance. I wanted them to use their allowance
negotiation
properly.
process.
Neil knows that.
Oh my God.
Each year, me and my boys, we sat down on Passover.
It's like sitting with the unions.
Right, and I used to negotiate with them their allowance, $10, $12, $14, and I was doing pretty good for a couple of years.
And
when they got to 12 and 13, we bumped into a friend of mine, Sam, from Muncie, a pig, and he says to them, I don't understand you guys. You let your father get away with it? And he starts to coach them right there in front of me, and we're arguing, and Sam says, and he started to embarrass me, and they actually came up with excellent ideas, and since then, each year, they get raises, and this guy, Sam, has tortured me for tens of thousands of dollars. He should be punished. Sam, I'm very, very upset with you, Sam.
Could you give me his address? I'd like to send him some flowers.
He lives in Muncie. I think he bought a big new house. I think he took a piece of the action from my boys.
Yeah, sure. Now. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Now you're doing the business, not getting off allowance. Call the fish place.
Right. Anyway, Steve, thank you for your call. You're a good man. Thank you. Very nice.
Wait, let's just quickly get into this Cosby thing because I think it's pretty.
What about that?
I have to say, usually.
I don't think he did anything wrong.
Well, he admitted to it.
No, he admitted to giving them Quaaludes.
Well, it kind of doesn't look too good, right?
The girls who took the pills willingly said, you know what? It says there. He says it in the ad right over here.
Willingly?
Yeah, willingly.
They didn't even know it was happening.
No.
You're not reading it right.
You're not reading it right. He said as follows.
Yeah.
They asked him, did you ever? This guy Chernogi asked, did you when you got the Quaaludes? Was it in your mind that you were going to use the Quaaludes for young women that you wanted to have sex with?
Right.
And he said yes. Wait a minute. And he says that these people asked for the pills, but they thought they were getting different kinds of pills.
The lawyer asked, did you ever give any of these young women the Quaaludes without their knowledge? And the attorney objected and told him not to answer the question. The point is that it definitely is starting to look...
Cosby has repeatedly denied claims that he drugged the women, damned himself while saying that he gave them things, but they thought...
You know how they got this?
But she said that while working... She said that...
on a court case,
hold on, you're not listening to this.
Privately done.
Right.
A girl sued him. And they made a settlement.
Right, so her name is Corsten, whose dad said she met Cosby while she was working for the women's basketball program, claimed the comedian, Cosby, claimed that the comedian plied her with what he said was an herbal medication. So she knew she was taking something, okay? He called it herbal. Quaalude is an herbal. Why did she take it all? So Neil, if I come over to you and say, Neil, hi Neil, you see this white stuff that I'm putting into a needle? I'm going to shoot into is water. Yeah, she shoot me up with water or I die to test me.
The point is that it definitely is starting to look like it's much more leaning towards the fact that he played some funny business.
Did this for 50 years.
Yeah, all the time. There's all this, the rape culture now, where basically every time that a girl does something that she regrets, she just, nowadays you can just say the guy raped her and it makes her look like a hero.
Right.
But this time it seems like there's enough evidence that it's starting to look like he really did take advantage of all these women.
Yeah,
and
but why did he need that? What's the psych behind that?
He had the money and the power.
What's the real psych
I guess he wanted.
Why does he need them to play dead for him to enjoy
Some people have that fetish of
what?
I don't know about playing dead, but it makes them really just out of it. I mean, people do that with drunk girls all the time. A girl's dead drunk. She doesn't know what's flying.
So what is that? So I have a question.
They just need her to be there.
How come he was never arrested for rape? How come they went to the civil court on it?
What do you mean?
No,
this is years ago.
This is 1985, I think.
Oh, really?
Earlier
85?
even.
Oh.
It's all no. late 70s is talking about even. No, it's all coming out recently. That's why people are assuming that these women are just going after his money and
you know what?
whatever.
I never really liked Bill Cosby, and
I didn't like him, but he was good.
Pops.
But he was good. I was on his Broadway show once when he did a one-man.
Oh yeah,
thing. It was hilarious.
Okay.
But I didn't like his TV shows at all.
I didn't like the last TV show, but the one that he was a father of these kids. Once in a while, he was funny.
In the
beginning, I thought it was funny. I thought he was a cool, easygoing.
I like Richard Pryor. He can do it.
Well, his comedy was very clean. That's why it was such a shock when these things came out, because he was always like the clean. He was the dad.
Do you know what the lady Rabbi told us yesterday? Rabbi Jill told us that Richard Pryor's daughter is Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that?
All right.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Anyways, everybody,
he was married to
you're coming to the you're just listening to the Just Enough Heshy show. We got a minute and a half, so you got to knock out some ads trial. People tell them who paid for this 2 hours of wonderful time you spent with us.
You're saying I should read the ads, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We got Black Label electronic cigarettes, blpremiumesig.com. You can call Mikey 561-239-5941. You have Sarah Shapiro Halberstam. She's a psychotherapist and does couples counseling. You can reach her at sarah@mytherapist.info or call 800-873-0323, extension 709. And, of course, Mr. Clean Dry Cleaning. They have free pickup and drop-off, 25% off your order when you mention the show. You can email him at mrcleandelivers@gmail.com or call 347-369-3051. And Green Line Building Solutions. They do asbestos and lead inspection, DOB, HPD code compliance, violations, permits, and plans. They do preventative maintenance. They lift stop work orders, and you can get a free consultation by calling them at 718-871-0382. Again, you listen to the Just Enough Heshy show. We're on every week, Monday and Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. on 620 a.m. You can catch us on Facebook or Twitter at the handle Just Enough Heshy. We stream all of our shows live on YouTube. Just search for Just Enough Heshy. And if you want to advertise, send us an email at justenoughheshy@gmail.com, or you can call in during the show, 718-303-9090.
For my last 20-second closing, here we go. Inspire. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions by others. And don't compare yourself with anyone in this world. If you do so, you're insulting yourself. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Just Enough Heshy.
See you next week.
We'll see you next week. Come back and play with us. We enjoy it.